Hey mathematics learners, welcome to Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. So we're still calculating, we're still working with BMI. And in the previous video tutorial, right, we mentioned what does BMI stand for? It stands for Body Mass Index. And why do we calculate a person's BMI? What's the significance, right? What's the importance of us calculating a person's BMI? Is to determine a person's weight status. Okay, is this person underweight? Is this person's normal weight? Is your weight a normal considered normal weight? Okay, for your body heights and weight. Okay, are you overweight? Are you obese? Right? Okay, so that is why we calculate BMI, so that we are able to, basically determine that, so that, you can make the necessary changes, okay, to, improve your health. Right, cool stuff. So we're going to be looking at this question together. We're going to be looking at this graph, analyzing, this graph together, and we're going to be answering the following questions. So please make sure that you just take a screenshot of these questions, because you're going to be looking at them together, as well as a screenshot of, this graph, and we are going to basically get started. Please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, right? Please make sure that you don't leave without liking these video tutorials, please guys. Okay, I'm asking you to please don't leave. If you really appreciated the video tutorial, click there, and also please make sure that you subscribe. It's free. It's free. Okay, so please subscribe if you really appreciate, and also share this channel with your friends. So let's get started. Okay, so it says that the graph given below shows the relationship between the height and the weight of a high school soccer team. Okay, so we are told that, okay, this graph here, what type of a graph is this one? Right? It shows a relationship between the height and the weight of, a high school soccer team. Okay, so when you just, I'm sure this graph, okay, I'm sure if you've been studying your data handling and just been looking at different types of graphs that you get, right, you should be able to, identify or see that this is actually a scatter plot. Okay, so we are given a scatter plot here. All right, and we obviously know that when you're given a scatter plot and you've got all points, congested in one section, and then you've got one lonely point there going off on its own, right? We know that, okay, that this lonely one here is called an outlier. Right, okay, but when we're looking at this graph is actually what? A scatter plot. Okay, so all those points there together, and you've got that one point there, that is an outlier. It's like, it's way different. Like it's the values for that point differ tremendously from the other ones. Okay, so it's moving on its own, path. It's an outlier. Okay, it's way different from the other points there. Right, so we're going to be using, this graph to help us, answer the given questions. We can see that on our y-axis, okay, we've got the weight in kilograms, and then we can see on our x-axis we've got the height in centimeters. Okay, remember we spoke about that, like when you're calculating BMI, right? The BMI, when you're calculating your BMI, it needs to be in the units of kilograms per meter squared. Okay, we are even given this formula for BMI. Okay, so already that needs to tell you that, okay, if we're given the height in centimeters, we're going to be converting those centimeters to meters. Okay, so you already need to be thinking about those things. Okay, we're also given here the weight status, okay, and the BMI. So what does this mean? It means that if you are underweight, okay, that means that your BMI, you have a BMI that is less than 18.5. So when your BMI is less than 18.5, right, so you take your weight divided by your height all squared, and you get a value that is less than 18.5, that means that you are underweight. Okay, you're underweight. If your BMI is between 18.5 and 24.9, that means that you've got normal weight, okay? If your BMI is between 25, okay, and 29.9, that means that you're overweight, right? And if the BMI is more than 30, that basically means that you are obese. So now we see, okay, we are connecting now to what we've, done in the previous lesson, okay, where we were just calculating BMI and things like that, right? But maybe we can just link to that a bit. Let's just go back to this lesson. Let's look at this person's BMI. We found that their BMI is 24.22 kilograms per meter squared. So what does that mean? Okay, because we found that that person's BMI is 24.22 kilograms per meter squared. So what would be this person's weight class? Okay, so from what we can see here, if your BMI is between 18.5 to 24.9, that means that you have a normal weight. Okay, so since this value, right, is in between 18.5 and 24.9, that means that this particular individual has a weight status of normal weight. Okay, so that is basically what we were doing there. Okay, what does the BMI tell us about the person's weight status? Okay, so I think we're more than ready to have a look at the questions that are basically given to us here. Okay, question 1. What does BMI stand for? Okay, I think we've already discussed this. BMI stands for body mass index. Okay, question 2. What do you call a point that lies a distance away from all the other points in a data set as seen with point C above? So what do we call that point, right? That lies a distance that is way far away from the other points in a data set. Remember, we said that this is basically called what? An outlier. Okay. Question 3. Name the type of graph that is used above. What type of a graph is this, right? We mentioned that this is just a scatter. Okay, so the graph is what? A scatter plot. Okay, number 4, write down the weight of the team member that is 120 centimeters tall. So what is the weight of the team member that is 120 centimeters tall? So that means that we're gonna obviously go to the horizontal axis, because that, okay, this horizontal axis, okay, is telling us about the weight, the height. Okay, so we're going to go to the horizontal axis. We're going to go to the 120 centimeters. You're going to go up, 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 up until you come across a point. Do you see there? Okay, from 120, go straight up. Okay, then we get to that point, and then we want to read off what is the weight of that point. So we want to read off. So up from this point, we're going to try and read off what is the value there, on your, okay. So we're going to try to read off, the value there. So I'm just going to try to be more accurate. All right. So we can see now, right here, the trick here. So I'm just going to move this a bit down. Okay. We can see that now we want to determine what are the divisions there. How are we increasing from there to there to there to there? Okay, so that's one thing that we want to obviously, determine. How can we determine how they're increasing from one block to another? So what we need to do here, right? Okay, start off from the 0. Okay, right? So let's just start from the 0 to that 20. We want to determine how are they increasing from the 0 to there, to there, to there, to there, to there, right? I'm going to give you guys a trick. So what you basically do, right? You're going to basically, so this is just additional information. I'm just going to put a blue block there so that you just see that we're just doing something different here. We're just trying to determine how they're increasing. Okay, right? So how are they increasing? So we can see there, okay, it's from 0 to there, it's 20. So you're going to take that highest number, you're going to take 20, and then you're going to divide it by how many divisions do we have in that one block? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to be that 20 divided by 5, okay? So 20 divided by 5 is 4. So what does this basically mean? It basically means that each block there, okay, it's they're increasing by 4. Okay, so it's like, so this one is 0, then it's 0, it's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Okay, so we basically increasing by 4. Okay, so that's basically what you can do if you want to determine, how are they increasing, because that's something that you need to know for mathematical literacy as well. When you're analyzing graphs that are given to you, you need to be able to figure out how is each block increasing. Okay, so all that you need to do, obviously, you look at your, the last value from the 0. Okay, from 0 to 20, take that value 20. Then count how many divisions do we have. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Divide by 5, and that's basically going to tell you that each block is increasing by 4. Okay, I hope we're all on the same page there. So each block is increasing by 4. So then that makes our life now nice and easy. We can now work and determine what is the weight of this person. Okay, so I'm just gonna put it there, because you see that point, it's until there. So I'm just gonna draw a line from there to there. Okay, so what is that value there? Okay, what is that value there? So from there, it's 20, it's 40. Okay, so remember, we're increasing by 4, 4, 4. Okay, so it's going to be 44, 48, 52. Okay, so the weight for a person, right, that is 120 centimeters is 52 kilograms. Okay, so I hope we are all on the same page as to how we got to 52. Remember, we're increasing by 4. So it's going to be 40, 44, 48, 52. So it's 52 kgs. Okay, so we're going to just give that answer. It's 52 kgs. Good stuff. All right, let's have a look at the next question. Comment on the weight status of the person labeled B. So we're going to go to the person labeled B, right? So where is the person labeled B? So that's the person there, right? And we want to comment on the weight status of this person. For us to even be able to now comment on the weight status, what is it that we need to do? We need to calculate that person's BMI. How will we calculate a person's BMI? Remember, I did mention that they do give you the formula for BMI, okay? But it's always great to memorize these things, okay? They do give you the formula for BMI. BMI is equal to the weight in kg divided by the height in meters all squared, right? So if you want to be able to comment on a person's, weight status, that means that we first need to calculate that person's BMI. Okay, so let's start off by calculating that person's BMI. Okay, so number 5, we know that BMI is equal to the weight of the person in kgs divided by the height of the person in meters all squared, right? Okay, so let's do that. So now we need to look at that person B. What is that person's height? What is that person's weight? So we need to now get all those values from this graph. Okay, easy. Okay, how do we get that person's height? So we're gonna first start off by getting that person's height, and then we're gonna get that person's weight from the graph, right? I hope this graph is big enough. Okay, so I've tried to make the graph a bit bigger so that we can, see, what's happening there. So let's look at B, right? So that's point B. Do you see that? That's our B, right? What is the height of B? So let's just do this. Okay, so we can see that. I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to draw the lines there. Okay, from B, I'm going to draw a line going down. So that is our height, a value that is there. And then what is our weight? I hope you guys are seeing that I'm using a ruler now to be accurate. Okay, so I mean, yeah, you need to go into your maths literacy exam with a ruler, a proper ruler. Okay, then what is the weight? The weight is nice and easy. Do you see there? You can see that our weight is 60 kgs. So we can already write that down, that our weight is 60 kilograms. But what is the height? So the height is there. So now remember, we need to determine the divisions, right? Okay, remember, to help us determine the divisions there as well, we can see that, okay, from the zeros, there's a reason why I do this, okay? From the 0 to 20, okay, the maximum value, So to determine the divisions, okay, so the maximum value is 20. Okay, always start with the block that has the 0 and the 20 so that you do not make unnecessary mistakes. Okay, so that's basically what I'm doing there. All right, cool stuff. So from 0 to 20, so the maximum value is 20 divided by. Now let's determine how many divisions. So actually, we're not determining divisions, but you're trying to determine, what is the value of one block. Okay, that's what you're trying to determine, right? So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 20 divided by 5, okay, which is equal to 4. So still, it's the same thing. There's a reason why I repeat it. Ne? So that means that we are increasing by 4, 4, 4, and 4, right? So that means that now, okay, if we hear 140, so it's 144, 148. So that means that the height of this person B is 148 centimeters. Okay, it's 148 centimeters. But remember, when we're calculating BMI, right, the height needs to be, even from the equation, look at what the equation is saying. Is it saying that the weight needs to be in kg? Is it saying that the height needs to be in meters or centimeters? So since in this case it's telling us that the height needs to be in meters, you need to, if conversions is trapping you, it's going to trap you in every dimension. Okay, so we need to make sure that those videos that I've created about how we convert from kilometers to meters to centimeters, we watch. Okay, how do you convert from centimeters to meters? Easy stuff, because we know we can already visualize those pictures that I'm always drawing. Not because I'm bored, but because I know that they work. So how do we convert from centimeters to, meters? Okay, if you're moving from centimeters to meters, I'm gonna just draw it. I know. Okay, so if you're moving from centimeters, you want to go to meters, all that you need to do is you need to divide by 100. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to take that 148 centimeters, you're going to divide by 100. So when you divide by 100, 1, 2, the answer is 1.48 meters, right? So we've converted, okay, we've basically converted the person's height to a height in meters, and we've got the person's weight in kilograms. Now it's easy. All that we need to do, we just need to substitute all these values into this formula. I'm just going to move number 5 here. So number 5, remember, we're just trying to determine this person's BMI so that we can comment on their weight status. Okay, so it's the weight in kg divided by your height in meters all squared, right? So we found that what is this person's weight? We found that this person B has a weight of 60 kg divided by what is this person's height? We found that their height in meters is 1.48 meters all squared. All that we need to do, punch into your calculator, 60 divided by, open bracket, 1.48, close bracket, squared. Okay, don't make that mistake. It's 27.225712 kilograms per meter squared. So this is the person's, BMI. We can also just round it off to 2 decimal places, ladies and gentlemen. So it's just approximately equal to, this sign just means approximately equal to, because we are rounding off. So it's going to be 27.39 kilograms per meter squared. So we've calculated the person's BMI, but remember, the question wasn't asking us to calculate BMI, but it was asking us to comment on the weight status. Okay, so now that we've calculated the BMI, we are able to determine what is the person's weight status. Okay, so since we found that their BMI is what? 27.39, we can see that 27.39 is a value between 25 and 29.9. Okay, so therefore, okay, we can conclude that the person labeled B, therefore, the person labeled B is overweight. Okay, so they are overweight. All right, Great stuff. Then let's have a look at the last question. Okay. What is the probability, right? I think I've mentioned this, right? And if you watch all my video tutorials, probability is just one of those questions that they just like throwing in. Yeah. You do taxation, they throw in probability. You do data handling, will throw in probability. So they like throwing it in, right? So you need to now obviously, get to a point where you are comfortable with how to just, generally calculate probability, right? How is probability calculated? Okay, because if you know that, then you're able to, just collect those 2 marks. Okay, because we want to collect every single mark that we need from, this paper so that we get our distinction, because that's the goal, right? So what is the probability of selecting a person that is below 120 kg, who is shorter than 1.5 meters? Give your answer as a percentage. Hey, yeah, no. So here, right, just to help you answer this question, ask yourself, what are we calculating here? We're calculating probability. Start off by just writing the formula for probability. How do we calculate probability? Probability is equal to favorable outcomes divided by total outcomes. Okay, so I've thrown in that probability question. What are favorable outcomes? When you're talking about favorable outcomes, we're just talking about the outcomes that you want. Okay, so in this case, what's going to help us determine the outcomes that we want? It's this statement that is given to us here, right? So this statement that is saying, what is of selecting a person below 120 and who is shorter than 1.5 meters? Yeah. Okay, so what's happening here? Let's see. We want to select a person. So I'm going to just remove this. I think we're done here. Okay, so now you need to remember, Uguti, with these values that are given to us in the horizontal axis, okay, those are given to us in centimeters. But now this probability question is given to us in meters. So just know, if I want to convert all those values that are given to us on the horizontal axis into meters, we've already discussed this, ladies and gentlemen. We are just dividing by 100. So if I'm dividing all these values by 100, that means that what would be this snap? This would be 2. This would be 1.8. This would be 1.6. This will be 1.4. This will be 1.2. 1. This will be 0. Do you get my drift? So it's like just quickly convert them for yourself into meters, because we're given that probability question in meters. Okay, I think you guys see what I'm doing there. I've just divided all those values by 100 so that it's in meters. Okay, so that we are able to address this question, right? So they're saying, what is the probability of selecting a person that is below 120? So you now need to find, where is 120? Okay, I'm just gonna get my ruler again so that we make this thing, nice. Okay, so from the ruler, let's see, right? It's saying, what is the probability of selecting a person that is below 120 kgs? Right? So below 120 kgs, I'm just going to move up. I'm just going to find where is 120, okay, kgs. So that's my 120. So I'm just going to draw a solid line there. Okay, that's 120 kg. So below, right? What's the probability of selecting a person that is below? Okay? So I'm just going to highlight this in a color that you can all see. A person that is below. So we are underneath. Do you see there? We are underneath there. Okay, that's one thing. That's what a person that is below this line. Okay, and shorter than 1.5. So remember, we've converted all these units in our horizontal axis to meters. So if you're shorter than 1.5, what does that mean? So you're going to go to this line. You're going to go to 1.5. Where is 1.5? Now we need to figure out where's 1.5. So let me just remove, the coloring in so that we can all now focus on what's happening here, right? Below 1.5. So remember, guys, we mentioned that we're going up in 4. So if this is 140, 144, 148. Now 1.5 is it there because this is 152. This one is 152. So this is 1.52. That means that it's like in between there, right? So I'm just going to draw it like that. So it's like in between there. I hope you guys are seeing what I'm doing there. That's 1.5 there. Do you see there? So you want to determine the probability of selecting a person that is below the red line, okay? That is below the red line, okay? And to the left of the blue line, okay? To the left of the blue line. So I'm just going to highlight that, the region that we're now focusing on. This is nice. This is a nice question. So we're actually focusing on this region there. How many dots do we then have in this region? Because then we know that that's the that's what we're focusing on. Below the red line, less than 1.5. Okay, so then remember, just take note of this. There's three dots on the line. So we're not going to count those because they're on the line. Okay, we want it to be below, not equal to. Okay, so how many dots do we have there? What is the probability then of selecting a person that has a weight class that is below 120 kg and that is shorter than 1.5 meters? Okay, so then we're going to count the dots. Okay, our favorable outcomes, in this case, the outcomes that we want, that we found from the region that we've highlighted, it's 1, it's 2, it's 3, it's 4, it's 5. Okay, it's 5 over. What are the total outcomes? How many dots do we have in total in this entire graph? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the total outcomes is 12. Okay, and then what did they say there? We need to give our answer as a percentage. All that we need to do, multiplied by 100 and then done. So therefore 5 divided by 12 times 100, answer is the probability will be 41 point, I'm going to round it off to, did they tell us? 1 decimal place. So my answer was actually 6. It was 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, and then 7. So if you round it off to 1 decimal place, it's just going to be 7%. Okay, so that's the probability of selecting a person that is below 120 kg and who is shorter than 1.5. Hey, it was jam-packed. It was jam-packed. So I hope you made it to the end. Please, if you made it to the end, just mention, I made it to the end, ma'am, right? I want to see, how long is everyone watching? Are we all watching, until the end? What's happening? Am I losing you guys somewhere in the middle, right? So I'm just trying to see what's happening. So if you've made it till the end, just say jelly tots. Okay, just say jelly tots, comment jelly tots. If you've made it to the end of the video tutorial. Okay, how did you find this lesson? Did you enjoy it? Ladies and gentlemen, was it informative, right? Obviously, these harder questions, okay, where things are not just coming to you wrapped up, the way you expect them to. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this. Also, this probability question is a bit different, okay, where we now have to cut out the parts where we need to focus on and then count the favorable outcomes divided by the total outcomes to determine the probability. Okay, so that's it for today's lesson, everyone. Thank you so much. If you've made it this far, if you've been watching from the first lesson for measurements, well done, congratulations, you've just made it through measurements. Okay, the next concepts or topics that we're going to be going through deals with maps and plans, working with line scales, bar scales, ratio scales. How do you work with that? Okay, so please make sure that you're also super engaged with those lessons as well, because we are revising, we're preparing for our final examinations. And also please push these video tutorials to get to 1,000 more. Okay, let's start with 1,000 views. Okay, let's get them to at least each video to get to 1,000 views. So share in your WhatsApp groups, school WhatsApp groups with your friends, so that we can basically help the videos do well. And I'll see you guys on my next tutorial. That is it, guys, and I'll see you guys on my next upload, Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. Bye, guys.